Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I hear protesters in the street.
Oh,
I,
really?
I'm delighted. I mean, yes, as I'm 2 miles from the White House and with Louisville and wow,
Mhm.
everything else. Thank goodness people are on the streets.
Yeah. Um, Okay. I think we can start right now.
Sounds great.
Yeah, we can start. Okay, so hi and welcome to our Activated Thursday series, where every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, we have IG Live conversations with youth and adults about how to be effective activists. My name is Vanessa Garcia. I am a sophomore at the University of Maryland, and I'm co-chair on the Youth Activism Project's board of directors. And today I'm so excited to welcome Wendy Lesko, the founder of the Youth Activism Project.
Hey, Vanessa,
Um,
it's so much fun to see you again.
yeah. Okay, so as I've said, you're the founder of the Youth Activism Project, but you've been involved in activism for most of your life. So can you talk a little bit about how you like your introduction to activism? Because I know you spent some time working with Cesar Chavez's United Farm Workers Union.
Yeah, that was my first real job out of college
Mm,
and still ranks way up there. And I was doing a service project in Florida, and suddenly my eyes were just overwhelmed by the harvest of shame,
mhm,
the working conditions of young people, of children and farm workers picking Minute Maid orange juice. And, the conditions were just staggering. And I said, I'm doing this recreation and reading program for 100 migrant farm worker children, and nothing is going to change their lives. So the day I graduated from college, I went to Cleveland, Ohio, and I started doing community organizing work to encourage young people. I keep saying young people, to encourage all facets of the community to boycott iceberg lettuce, to force the growers to negotiate contracts. And that was a slow, really hard fight that continues to this day. But it was still such an amazing experience to work with so many different people and also
mhm.
to have that chance to work a bit with Cesar Chavez once in a while.
Yeah, that seems like a really like great experience that you had, great introduction to activism. So, like, when exactly and why did you begin focusing on youth activism and empowering young voices specifically?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I was actually working on a book about college activists, and I stumbled on some examples of fifth graders, of um, 10th graders. I mean, what we call kids, not my favorite term,
Mm-hmm.
and their unique influence with these, hired gun lobbyists who had tons of money and tons of influence. And these young people, truly little people, were able to shame or motivate. So, one example was I was watching a committee here. I used to be a reporter and covered Congress,
Mm-hmm.
and I got really nauseated after 6 years because you really saw who had power. And it was so rare that any ordinary people were really listened to because they don't have ching ching. They aren't
Yeah.
donating to the campaigns. But I watched a committee, not at the Hill, this was actually in Minnesota. And these students came and testified before this committee. And the industry lobbyists they had all the votes. And those students turned the tables and they totally creamed they were tobacco lobbyists, the most well-funded, most well-organized. And I just said, wow, this is so exciting. If every young person on whatever issue that they care about could get in the face of decision makers at any level and tell them what they want, these people who work for you as taxpayers, right? Um, that they need to listen to young people even before young people have the power to vote them in or out of office.
Mm-hmm.
So the story continues to this day, as you know, Vanessa.
Yeah. Are there any like current campaigns that you're watching or supporting?
Well, I do have two personal favorites right
Hmm.
now. There is at the federal level, there is something called, I'm going to botch the name of the bill, but it's like the Fundamental Right and Climate Recovery Act. And it's been introduced in the House and Senate. It's basically a resolution, which isn't the same, doesn't have the same power, but it's to demand that the Department of Justice protect the constitutional rights of young people who stand to inherit this mess of an environment that my generation can be blamed for. And um, and that is, unfortunately, there are not a lot of Republicans on the scene here, but these are young people who have brought this case against the U.S. government, and it's called. I should have it right, but it's the Giuliani case, Juliana. If you do a hashtag, it'll pop right up, and that's just so exciting. This same case has been tried in Washington State and Oregon, so now it's at the federal level, and you know, again, all the climate strikers out there, is just great. The
Hmm.
other personal favorite that I have is efforts to expand voting rights. And we're talking to 16 and 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
And in Maryland, three cities have already done this, and voter turnout amongst 16 and 17-year-olds is higher than even geriatric people my age. But right now, San Francisco, second try, and the prediction is that all San Francisco 16 and 17-year-olds will be able to vote for the mayor and the board of supervisors. And in Oakland, another ballot that all students who are never the people listened to, right, by the
Yeah.
superintendent and the school board, instead of voting just for one student rep, in Oakland, all students, if they decide to vote, would be voting for all school board candidates, the adults, not just the student rep. So those are two of my current favorites that keep me feeling slightly more optimistic about this shitty world.
Yeah. Those are great campaigns that you talked about. Can you talk a little bit about Schoolgirls Unite, which is the campaign that you like began and like what you were able to accomplish with them?
So, Schoolgirls Unite, again, is sort of a walk down nostalgia lane. In 2004, I was just really depressed. That would be the word, when the US did another war going into Iraq.
Hmm.
And I just thought, how is this going? And I just happened to be reading some books, some research papers about how so few girls in so many countries, especially in the global south, have no chance of going to school. Or, and if they do, only a handful of years. And so if they aren't in the corridors of power, men are going to continue to fight these wars. There are plenty of women warmongers. I'm not pretending they don't exist. But one of our first community meetings was at a neighborhood cafe. And there's one of these people, I think her name is Anika Mansour. I think I've got her name right.
Yeah.
And she is one of the real instigators and is now the executive director leading the Youth Activism Project. And during just a couple really quick highlights of Schoolgirls Unite is Anika and others would routinely go to Congress and meet with legislative staffers, even the Senate Foreign Relations Committee people, like bigwigs. And again, their unique influence, even at this level of government, which is so hard to have any traction,
Yeah.
they really were able to help really increase the U.S. foreign aid budget for education for all. Each of those visits to Congress was such fun. And I think the young people, the young activists surprised themselves as much as they surprised the elected officials and their congressional staff. One of our proud moments is we did write a book with our sister organization in Mali called um, Girls Gone Activist, How to Change the World Through Education. Anika came up with the title um, Girls Gone Activist, a play off Girls Gone Wild.
Yeah.
Uh, and that is that's a bilingual how-to book that's still really good, and you can get it at the youthactivismproject.org website on our resources freebie page. You can download. It's beautiful, and it was written by our sister organization in Mali in West Africa. It was a
So,
great 14-year journey.
yeah, I was thinking like that must have been amazing for like young people to actually talk to legislators and like go to Congress. It must have been really kind of daunting, but then also exciting at the same time. So, what
And
inspired
it
you to
almost
finally
became
create?
normal.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, going to Congress every year or a couple times a year just became the norm. And isn't
Hmm.
that what we want? Like, it's
Yeah.
anything that impacts young people, especially where are the young people? They need to be there.
Hmm. I was just gonna say, so what inspired you to finally create your own nonprofit, the Youth Activism Project?
So it really was Anika and the
Hmm.
other co-founders of Schoolgirls Unite that we decided to um, become a 501c3. And that was sort of the primary effort that were involved with for most of our time. And we would do what was called then Skype calls uh, with our sister organization. And one of the great projects that Anika worked on, she was paid staff one of the summers during her college years. And she really helped build a national coalition to create a new annual Global Girls' Rights Day, which is now celebrated on October 11th. And it's
Hmm.
a United Nations Day of the Girl Child. And we were the grassroots engine that got that going when a lot of big organizations said, oh, we have to worry about boys, which is true. Oh, we have enough of those days. True, but we still really believed and we fought hard. And we got a proclamation from President Obama then, and it was really a very cool campaign.
Hmm. So like for people who may not know who are watching, can you just like describe really quickly what the Youth Activism Project does?
Yeah, thanks for that reminder. Yes, the Youth Activism Project has been around since 2004, and our real focus now is a role as an incubator and a convener. And so we want young people who have an idea of what they want, but aren't maybe quite sure how to do it, or they're already charging along. And for example, Millie in Providence, Rhode Island, just wrote an op-ed that was published in the Providence Journal where she lives. Good daily newspaper talking about getting rid of school police officers and instead using that money for mental health counseling. And so people who are really either trying to figure out how to start, what issue it is that they're working on, or we try to help take them sort of to the next level, just giving some advice and what we sort of just call, what are you trying to do? How can
Yeah.
we maybe help you? And what's exciting is we're really working on 3 issues right now: voting rights, voter registration, and GOTV for the perhaps the most historic election of our lifetimes,
Hmm.
yours included, not just for the old lady here.
Yeah.
Um, we're working a lot on adolescent teen mental health, what young people really need. And it's tough because it's very much an expert driven field. And so, it's sort of like, well, you don't know enough. You're a kid. And then the other is education equity and really looking at de facto segregation. So whether it's incubating an idea where we've got sort of sophisticated campaigns that are starting, or just convening and connecting you with other people who are working on similar issues, and helping. If you decide you want to write a press release, if you decide you want to, like Lauren in Illinois wants to reach out to reporters to try to get some to try to force the powers that be to pay attention to her petition on special ed reform. Those are the kinds of issues where we are standing by, offering free, like, what are you trying to do? Okay, don't believe us, but here are a couple suggestions to get your mind rolling, and we're here to support you and have your back.
Mhm. Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I have been a part of the Youth Activism Project for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years now. And like, it's just been such a great experience throughout, like, such great opportunities. And it's been really amazing to see, like, the change that can be made and also connecting with, like, activists across the country. Like, I was just, like, amazed when we, like, launched nationwide because I was, like, used to, like, local organizing and things like that. But then like when I realized we could talk to people in like California who are working on campaigns or Seattle or New York, it was just like really amazing. So
And I just love to do a shout out because you, Vanessa, were one of the design team members who helped create the Guide to Change, Youth Act's Guide to Change, which is a free resource we have, again, on our website. And, you know, it would never have been as successful a publication and resource had it not been for your involvement and other youth in Montgomery County, Maryland. And I know we're, you know, hoping to turn it into YouTube video, so it's a little more fun, a little more interactive. But you continue to be such an inspiration for us, and certainly a vision and commitment, as is mine, to the Youth Activism Project is, you know, the more young people are running the show. We use the metaphor that the Vanessas are in the driver's seat, behind the steering wheel. We are in the back seat, or in my case, I'm in the trunk of the car. And so if you really need, you know, if you've got a flat tire, we're going to try to help. And sometimes that does happen. We actually were talking to an organization it's national, but it's, you know, based in Washington State, and really having some problems. And so we're sort of there more as an ear, as opposed to telling you what to do. And that's when I come out of the trunk and do my best to give 2 cents worth of advice, but then try to listen, which is sometimes hard.
Yeah, I really like that you mentioned the Guide to Change because I think that's like a great resource for everyone.
Yeah.
So do you have any like memorable or favorite moments from all your years in activism that you can mention?
Oh, meeting you for sure.
Same, meeting you.
No, I mean, it was great in 10th grade. Would you have imagined in 10th grade you would be doing this?
No, I literally was talking to my guidance counselor in high school, and then you just like walked in the room and I happened to be there, and that's how I met you. So if I didn't,
I remember that
yeah,
moment totally.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, right. And you know, you know, I'll be following in your footsteps for many years. Oh, it's so hard to say. I'm so typically thinking about what young people are doing right now. And I mentioned, you know, Millie in Rhode Island, who's working on really trying to get counselors, not cops, in schools. Oh, there's so many. I am very excited also about the Montgomery County. It's called Students Toward Toward Steps. Students Toward Equitable Public
Schools, yeah.
Steps. And, you know, they are doing remarkable things, and I hope people follow them on Insta. It's as though they never stop. And there are so many issues on the digital divide, on schools in different parts of the county that receive such different resources. And I am so proud that it is, quite frankly, it's not parent activists or professional lobbyists. It is the very primary stakeholders, students themselves, who are truly the experts. They're the ones in the classroom. They're the ones who have an experience that nobody else can, and we rarely really listen. And that's, again, coming back to this whole metaphor of student voice. And I think too often student voice is too voluntary.
Yeah.
No, the powers that be do not have to actually listen, or they can pretend to listen, but they don't act. So that's why we need sustained youth engagement, and that's what we're seeing from an organization like Steps, which um, the Youth Activism Project is very proud to support and
Hmm.
help in any little way we can.
Yeah, they're doing great work.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, if anyone has any questions for Wendy, like feel free to comment and we can read them. But my next question for you is, so you've been like an adult ally and like a mentor to so many young people, including myself, obviously. Do you have any advice for other adults who want to like assist young activists?
Yeah, I have two things. One is duct tape. Use duct tape over your mouth. That's for me. And then a third ear. So it's so easy, and I'm guilty of this. I'm hearing for example, there are some students in Long Island, New York, and they're trying to really change the U.S. history curriculum. And I'll send them too much info, like you might want to just check out what these students are doing in another part of the country, or here's a news article that made me think of you. And that does work. I mean, it is nice, but one of the things is making I think one of the tricks is not acting like a teacher. So you're not
Yeah.
asking a question and expecting an answer. You're asking a question with the hope that it just engenders more conversation and thinking. And so I think that's one of the things I actually enjoy and think I'm pretty good at, because
Yeah, you are.
I'm not really saying there are three things here and you better do them all, or I know
Hmm.
which is the right answer. But I think that's probably, I I really love it if adults remember that it's co-piloting. You're not a mentor. You are not the holder of information.
Hmm.
It's mutual. And we talk all the time. You've heard youth development, right? Oh, this is really good for youth development. They're going to learn all these skills. What about human development for adults? I am so lucky that I have the opportunity, truly, to be immersed with so many young people around the country who are working on so many different issues. And remember, most of this never works. It does not succeed. When you are pushing for change, it takes years. And it's rare when you get wins. And you got one, Vanessa, at the county level. But this is building blocks. And I am so fortunate to be among young people who show me and continually teach me and help me grow. And I think that's one of the big philosophical issues is I'm
Hmm.
not training you. We're learning together. And the more I will learn more from you than vice versa.
Yeah, I liked how you put that, that it's like a learning experience between the both of us. Like, to anyone who like wants to become like an adult ally, I just like emphasize that it's important to like work together and like not really like a teacher relationship. But yeah, like I just think it's really important. And if you are considering like becoming an adult ally, it's a great experience and like I'd really recommend doing it.
I can second the motion. It's a really great experience. In so many adults who do great work in youth serving organizations, they move up that organizational ladder and they don't interact very much with the
Yeah.
very people they're serving. Same with the school principal. Not all principals will just hang out in the halls, right? Go into classrooms. No, they're too busy doing administrative stuff. And so to me, that's where it's incumbent on adults to become allies, to become
Hmm.
accomplices with students and young people, and really follow their lead. You know the future unlike anybody else, and boy, we need to rely not to put burdens on you, but Generation Z is the generation to watch, and you are so needed, and I'm sorry we've screwed it up for you so much. The baby boomer here. Okay, boomer.
Okay, so I have one last question for you. Do you have
Okay.
any words of like encouragement for young people who are considering getting involved in activism?
Yeah, don't be alone. Make sure you
Hmm.
have at least, ideally, at least two soulmates. And know that everything you do does actually lead and inspire other people to do it, even if ultimately you are dismissed. You have to fight so hard.
Hmm.
It's persistence, and really, again, the fact that you choose to try to make a change is enormous. Most, like 90% of people of all ages don't do squat, right? They
Hmm.
sit in their butts and they just bitch and complain. To
Hmm.
all the youth activists out there, as well as activists of all ages, you're so important. You're so needed. It's what keeps us going.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I just think it's really important for like young people everywhere to get involved and like even starting at like a community level, it's like a great way to start and to definitely, like you said, not start alone because it's like hard to do things on your own. It's better to like have people to like support you and to like push your campaign forward. So thank you so much, Wendy, for talking to me. Do you have any like last thoughts or any comments?
No, I just love this sort of quasi reunion with
Me
COVID,
too.
see each other. And just a shout out to you for being co-chair of our board of directors, uh, and for your just steady, ongoing support. I know you're going to help us write a grant, for
Hopefully, yeah.
mental health advocacy, and you just are, again, you help me wake up in the morning and be excited and be so optimistic about this horrible state we're in. So thank
Yeah.
you so much.
I mean, you do the same for me, Wendy. Like, I'm really lucky to have met you. Thank
Not
you.
you.
Um, okay, so I just want to say one last thing. The Youth Activism Project is currently trying to fundraise $3,000 in 3 weeks to become eligible for grants that would allow us to continue supporting youth activists across the country, including like paying them for their work, which they should be paid. So if you would like to support us and donate, the link is in our bio. Thank you so much to everyone who like does decide to donate. And thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific with another interview. Okay. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. Good night. And again, please join our mighty campaign. Thanks.
Hmm. Bye.
Good